Hello, in this video we're going to show you how to assemble this sideboard. This sideboard features Walker Edison's new easy assembly drawer system, which means the drawers go together tool-free and with less frustration. Before we get started, here's a few things to keep in mind. Make sure you have a Phillips head screwdriver, 2 people can be helpful, and just make sure all the pieces are facing the right way and you'll do great. In this video we're going to focus on the trickier parts and go quickly through the easier steps, so just make sure you pause the video and complete all the steps as we go. So let's get into it. In step 1, we're going to screw in cam bolts into piece 1, 6, and 8 and 10. Next, in step 2, we'll attach cam bolts to pieces 2 and 3, which are the side pieces. Next, in step 3, we'll attach cam bolts to pieces 4 and 5. Okay, we're good to move on. In step 4, we're going to put together pieces 4, 5, and 16. So we'll start by putting dowels into piece 16, one on each end. And then piece 4 will stand up this way, and these cam lock holes will line up with this cam bolt here, and the dowel should line up. And we'll put a cam lock into this side and lock it in place. And then we'll stand up piece 5 on this side and line it up the same way. And we'll put a cam lock in this side as well. Okay, and then just double check that these grooves are both on the same side, and then we're good to move on. In step 5, we're going to attach pieces 6, 8, and 9 together. Just make sure you have piece 8, because piece 10 is very similar, but it has cam lock holes here. So just make sure that you're using piece 8 that doesn't have those cam lock holes. And with piece 8, we're going to make sure that these bolts are closer to the bottom edge when we insert it into piece 6. And with piece 6, we want the side with the cam lock holes facing up, and we'll be attaching piece 8 to the edge that has the double cam lock holes here. So piece 8 is going to stand up and go into the side of piece 6. But before we do that, let's stick dowels into piece 8, just 2 of them, and then we'll insert that. And then we'll lock those in place with the cam locks on this side. Next, we'll take piece 9, and piece 9 is going to go onto the cam bolts that are here, right next to the edge. And we'll also want to stick dowels into the holes that are here. And then piece 9 is going to flip up like this. Just make sure that the nice side is facing out, and it'll line up with those holes and the cam bolts. And then we'll put in cam locks onto this side of piece 9. Okay, next in step 6, we can stand this piece up like this. And we'll take this middle piece, which is piece 11, and that's going to bolt into these holes here. So we'll start by putting 2 dowels into the 2 middle holes here. Then just make sure piece 11 has these cam lock holes on this edge further away from this piece. So we'll line up those dowels. Here's a quick note from the future with piece 11, is that we want it to be lining up flush with this overhanging piece, and it'll also line up flush with the back here. So like this and like that. I showed it wrong before, and this is the right way to do it. And then we'll put 2 bolts in through this other side. Once that's bolted in place, we can set this aside, and we'll grab piece 7. Piece 7 is the thinner piece that has this groove along the back. So we have piece 7 here, and piece 10, which is this longer piece that has cam lock holes here. And we have piece 7 on the side with the cam lock holes facing up, and the double holes on this bottom edge here. And we have piece 10 that's going to tip up like this, and the cam bolts are going to go into piece 7. First, we'll put in 2 dowels into piece 10, and then tip it up and insert it into piece 7. And it should be hanging over this way so that the ledge is here, and then we'll lock it in place with cam locks. Okay, next we'll move on to step 7, and we'll be attaching this piece here. So we're gonna lay this piece this way, and then we want these notches to be facing this way for when we stand up piece 7, and they'll attach together like this. So first we'll put in 4 dowels, 2 on each of the inner hole pairs, and then this piece will line up with those dowels. And then we'll put 4 bolts in through this other side. Okay, once those are in, we can move on to step 8. So I'm gonna flip over piece 7 like this, and then put 4 dowels into these ends here. And then we'll take this piece from earlier, and this will rest onto those dowels. And the cam locks and cam bolts will line up as well. And these overhangs on this piece should line up with the notches in these side pieces here, like this. And then we'll put 4 cam locks into the inside. Okay, next we can move on to step 9, and we'll attach the feet. So we're gonna tip it this way, and the 2 middle legs will attach to these holes here. Okay, we can move on. Next, in step 10, we're going to attach piece 3 to this side. Now just take note that I flipped this piece over so that the overhangs are facing up like this, and the feet are still there at the bottom. So with piece 3, just make sure that these feet are also at the bottom, and also this inner groove should line up with the inner groove inside these pieces here. So we'll start by putting dowels into piece 3, into these 5 holes. There's one up here, and then this will line up with these pieces here. And then we'll lock this in place with cam locks. And most of them are underneath on the inside. And there's also one underneath this piece here. And then there's 2 under at the very bottom. Next, in step 11, we'll do the same thing on this side with piece 2. So we'll put in the dowels, and then we'll line it up here. And then cam locks. Okay, once all those cam locks are in, we can move on to step 12. So we'll stand this up, and then we're gonna put in the back panel. So we'll grab our back panel and unfold it. And with the tape side facing back, we want these half holes to be on the top side so that they line up with this shelf here. So we'll insert it into the grooves on both sides. And that should go all the way into all of the grooves. Okay, once the panel's in, we'll move on to step 13, and we'll be putting piece 1 onto the top. But first we need to put in dowels in the holes along the top. So 2 dowels into each of these pieces. And then we'll take piece 1, just making sure that this groove on here is facing to line up with this panel. So we can set that in place, lining up the cam bolts. Just make sure that seats fully, and the back panel goes in. And then we'll lock that in place with cam locks on the inside. Okay, we're good to move on. In this next step, we're going to show you how to attach the hinges to the doors and the doors to the piece. I've already done that door, but I'll show you how to do this door. So we'll take the hinge with this part that sticks out, and that goes into the hole on the door to line up these 2 holes. And then we'll put 2 screws in there. And same with the other one. And then next we'll attach these hinges to these sets of holes inside. So we'll extend the hinges like this, and then what I like to do is have a screw on the tip of the screwdriver and in the first hole, and then I'll hold the door up to the first hole and then screw it in. Then we'll do one screw in the bottom hinge as well to hold everything in place, and then we can put the other screws in. Okay, and then we can check to see if our door is level. Ours looks pretty good, but if you need help adjusting your hinges, we have a video to help out with that. But next we can move on to putting in the shelves. So we'll take our shelf pegs and put those inside in the holes. Just make sure they're all on the same level. I'm just gonna go with the middle holes here. And we'll take one of our shelves and just make sure that the finished side is facing forwards. Angle it up. And then rest it on the pegs like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, then we're good to move on. In this part of the video, we'll show you how to assemble the drawers. These drawers feature our new easy assembly technology, which means the drawers go together a lot easier and tool-free. So we'll show you how to do that. First, we'll start by taking one of these back pieces that has this groove along the inside, and then we'll put one dowel into each end. Then we'll take one of our side pieces, and we just want these holes to line up with the little latches on the drawer here. And we also want the grooves to line up on these pieces. So this piece will line up on this edge so that the grooves line up. And then once that's in place, we'll flip these little latches and that locks it in place. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And then again, just make sure the grooves line up all the way along the inside. And then we'll take one of our bottom panels and slide that into the groove. And then we'll take one of our front panels and we'll attach it in the same way. Again, putting two dowels into the sides, one on each side. Okay, then we'll do the same thing with the second drawer. Okay, and then we can insert the drawers. So we'll just line up the rails. And the drawers are the same, so it doesn't matter which one goes where. Okay, once the drawers are in, the last thing they'll do is put the plastic wedges around the back panel. Then we're done. We hope this video was helpful for you in assembling this sideboard. For more guides, tips, and tricks, go to walkeredison.com.